Recognize that diabetes is a serious illness and they want to avoid it. And a large percentage of the population actually has diabetes. The impact of diabetes is profound. It's also, though, what leads up to the diabetes, right? People know that if they get the diagnosis, oh my God, it's serious. But they think that, well, I'll just take some metformin, or I'll take whatever the latest drug is, or I'll shoot up the insulin, and I'll be fine. Medicine has a solution. I've even had people who've come to me, they've been to the doctor, and their blood sugar was borderline, like 118, 119, and they said, oh, I'm pre-diabetic. And they said, yeah, what do I do? And the doctor would say, come back in 6 months, and if you're diabetic, then I'll put you on medication. That blew my mind, right? This person then came to our program, and we completely turned it around, and all her other chronic diseases went away. So diabetes is at the root of heart disease. Diabetes is at the root of cancer. But it's not just diabetes, it's blood sugar dysregulation. And so medicine will detect if your fasting blood sugar goes above 100 that you're pre-diabetic. And if it goes above 120, you're diabetic. But fasting blood sugar is a late indicator. It doesn't shift until the progression has been made for a long time and a lot of the damage is done.
There's a lot of foods that we eat today that weren't even on the planet 50 years ago. And so I think as a result of that, because of the fact that our diet has changed so drastically, that's the main reason that we're seeing these upticks in all these different diseases. Some of them are more than upticks. Some of them are just explosions in different diseases. And it's because we're eating differently. I mean, any mechanic will tell you that the fuel that you put in your car matters. That's just self-evident, right? It's obvious. Of course the fuel matters. You don't put Kool-Aid in your gas tank, the car won't run. But then why do medical doctors not tell us that the food that we put in our body matters? Why do they tell us that it doesn't matter what fuel you put in your body, it won't matter. It doesn't affect your disease. I don't know how many times I've interviewed cancer patients that told me that their oncologist said, it does not matter what you eat. It won't affect your disease. That's absurd. It's absurd to have a medical doctor tell you that the fuel that you put in your body doesn't matter. Of course it matters.
So when you speak of diabetes or somebody speaking of heart disease or you're talking about cancer, whatever, if you want to probe down into why do we believe what we believe, it seems to me one of the first questions to ask, what does nutrition have to do with this? Eventually I was on a major committee in 1981 early on, and diet, nutrition, cancer, the first of its kind, and in that case there were 13 of us working for 3 years actually, trying to understand what relationship does nutrition have with cancer. I found out, for example, that the high protein diet controlled the ability of genes to do bad stuff because there were bad genes. In other words, nutrition becomes more important than genes, more important than genetic background. It's all about nutrition. And it turns out that the nutrition affecting prevention of cancer or heart disease or diabetes, it's all the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so it doesn't get into the conversation. And the public doesn't know it, of course. How can the public know this? They don't know. They're listening to what they hear on the boob tube, or what scientists might be telling them, what government tells them, and so forth and so on.
In a survey that was done, it was apparent that really cardiovascular physicians get hardly any nutrition education, either in medical school or in their postgraduate training. So here we're in this horrible situation where a specialty has been asked to deal with an illness for which they have never had any training into its causation.